Oh, 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 oh. She says she wants some Marvin Gaye, some Luther Vandross, a place for humans. Now let's start this podcast off right. A place for humans. Hello, everybody. My name is Dakota Wint, and this is A Place for Humans podcast.
A place for humans.
I have emerged back to the United States after a long journey into Egypt, to Turkey, into Mexico, into Emirates. And I'm only here for a little bit before I head again to the east. I'm going to India in about 3.5 weeks. I'll be in India for about a month, G. And I'm excited. I love India. It's one of my favorite countries. Culturally, it's one of my favorite countries to travel through for the nature, for the just the overall experience of India is so interesting if you're not from that part of the world. Not only is the culture is just so rich and so alive, and it's not just even just Hinduism. There's Sikhism, there's the Jains, there's a lot of Muslims and Buddhists. India's got it going on. And it's actually the only place I've seen wild rhinos and wild leopards just wandering around. And obviously monkeys are everywhere. You see a lot of camels, some elephants. But I was, so when I was first meeting the Ram Dass people, and, God bless Ram Dass, and God bless the Ram Dass people, like the foundation, the Love Serve Remember Foundation. God bless those guys. But I got in contact with those guys in about 2017, and they all changed my life. I went to India with them. Ram Dass was too old at this point to really travel anywhere. He was just staying in Hawaii. But I was with these people like Krishna Das, Raghu Marcus, Rameshwar, who writes all of Ram Dass's books. He edits all Ram Dass's books and helped him compile them because, Ram Dass had a stroke and couldn't really write in the later years. So Ramesh would be the one that was working with Ram Dass to make all these things. And it was such an incredible experience to be in India with these guys. And it was September, and we were going to Nainital. I had been in Delhi for about a week. Or actually, I had been in Rishikesh. Where did I go? I had already been traveling in India for a few weeks at this time, and then I was in Rishikesh, and I met those guys for the very first time in Rishikesh. Krishna Das was playing a concert there. People were touching Krishna Das's feet and stuff. I was like, what the hell is going on? But okay, so here's what the story I'm getting to is we went to Nainital to go to the spot where Ram Dass met Neem Karoli Baba. And for those of you guys that don't know this story, this is psychedelics history for us, for all of us psychonauts out there, or for those of us that are interested in spirituality and understanding Eastern spirituality through a Western perspective. This is a very important story, the Ram Dass Maharaji story, Neem Karoli Baba. But anyways, we were driving to Nainital, which is where the ashram is. Kenshidam is what it's called. This is where Ram Dass met Neem Karoli Baba, or Maharaji is what they called him, which is sort of like a respectful title. We are finally pulling up. It's about 11 o'clock at night, and you're just driving through these winding hills and mountains, and it's the foothills of the biggest mountains in the world, the Himalayas. And as we're approaching the ashram, they're like, look, it's down there. You can see the lights from it. And it's got these red roofs that are very iconic. And as we were getting ready to turn, a leopard just jumps into the street. A wild leopard jumps into the street. I'm like, holy shit. This is really my first time going to this part of the world. I had been to Costa Rica one time, which is a pretty crazy place to go. Costa Rica is the jungle, but it's pretty Americanized in most of the spots that you would visit. India is not. But anyways, I seen this. I was like, oh my God, man. I knew this is going to be a powerful experience if it's starting out with a goddamn leopard jumping into the street. So anyways, we just keep driving, obviously. We're all kind of like freaking out. Like, oh my God, how crazy was that? Because, I mean, this is just in the middle of nowhere, you know? And this thing is like a huge cat. So we get down to the ashram, and there's like a guy that's waiting to help us with the bags and walk us to our rooms. We're all really tired. We had a long journey from Rishikesh, I believe, or maybe Delhi. I don't remember where we were driving from, but we start getting taken to our rooms. You know, the guy's like, okay, here's Raghu, here's your bedroom. And I'm like peeking in the rooms and it's like, oh man, this is actually not that bad. They got a little bed there. And, you know, it's simple, but it's not that bad. I was thinking like, you know, just really, really, really basic conditions. I've seen some of these ashrams, you know. You're just sleeping on like a little carpet basically in some of these places. And so I'm like, okay, cool. I'll be able to do this because we're going to be here for about 2 weeks. So that'll be nice. And they Krishna us, here's your room. Rameshji, here's your room. And then I'm with my friend Lucian, who was Ram Dass's caretaker at the time. And we're just like, okay, cool. You know, we got our backpacks on. We're like, okay, where's our rooms at? And the guy goes, you guys will stay up on top of that hill over there in that little white house. And we're like, oh. Like, fuck, you mean like up there where the leopard is? So we walk up there with this guy. And I'm just like, oh my God, dude, we have to walk up here every night for 2 weeks there's leopards out here. And he opens this like creaky wooden door and it's like jammed. So he's got to like, you know, like pick it up and like push it out. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I guess this is kind of more what I expected. And there's absolutely no bed. We're just sleeping on the floor and there's these giant spiders everywhere. As big as tarantulas, but they're not tarantulas. And they're just all, I mean, probably at least 10. And we're sleeping on the ground next to them. Every night I would wake up thinking they were crawling on me, and I'm sure some of those nights they actually were. But every day we would wake up and we'd do the different rituals, like, you know, like singing to all the different murtis, which are the statues of the different deities. So like Durga, a statue of Maharaji himself, Krishna, Hanumanji, and all these different deities. You sort of wake them up in the morning with these prayers that you sing to them, and it takes like an hour and a half. And I think you do it 3 times a day. I don't remember how many times a day we were doing it, but we were pretty much required to do it with these guys. With the pujaris, which are these guys that just do this every single day. Like, it's not like, they really do have the most crazy devotion I've ever seen. Like, people go to church on Sunday and stuff, and it's, you know, if you go to church all the time and you're really a deeply devoted spiritual person, that's an impressive accomplishment to do in this lifetime, you know, when we have so much up against us with marketing and advertising and all these things that are trying to extract us in order to buy things, trying to keep us from realizing who we are as a way to benefit the elite and the rich. So if you can like break from that through whatever spiritual expression that you find, Christianity, or, you know, it's different wherever you're born usually, then, you know, God bless you. That's a beautiful accomplishment in life. But what were we talking about? Talking about, fuck, I forget. India. Yeah, but I mean, look, there's so much going on in the world right now, and how do you know who you actually are in a situation that we are in now? And people don't, you know, people are so crazy. The internet is so crazy. I mean, when you're in real life, I was going to say when you're in real life, it doesn't seem as wild as it does in like in the wild west of the internet, but it kind of does in some places. I mean, like if I was in Portland or something, you know, I'm sure I'd be singing a little different tune. Even like when I came home during the pandemic, I was in Peru for the start of the pandemic, and I got cut there because like I got stuck. Peru completely shut the country down, and they didn't let anyone leave. So I was stuck there for 6 months, And when I came home to Detroit to see my family, everything was blocking us off from going into the inner city because of riots and stuff like that. So I guess the real world is kind of just as crazy as the internet world right now. But what I'm saying is like, or to I guess elaborate on the point that I lost myself on, is that we are intentionally being led down confusing alleyways. We're in a maze right now that's leading us intentionally, blindly into dead ends. Because if we know who we are as a people, if you know who you are as an individual, then this sort of structure and system that we are upholding kind of starts to fall apart, because it exists based on our giving our power to something else, and they call it being like a productive member of society. They give it these categorizations, and what it is actually is like a witchcraft spell. They categorize it in a way that makes it hard to argue with it. Like, oh, you're not going to be a productive member of society. You're not going to work for a minimum. This is just how it is. You have to be a member of society. Think about how bad your grandparents struggled when they came to this country or whatever. There's always, they don't want to have the conversation. There's an argument for it. Because as soon as we realize that we're being exploited by the most, I don't even like calling them elite, but by the richest among us and the politicians that work for them and the CEOs. And, we live in a system that is very just, it's very built on benefiting a small group of people. And I feel like if you don't know that by now, then God bless you, because how do you not? How do you not know that? Yeah, I don't know. Us not having power within ourselves. Because who are we? Who are we really? Like, when I think of who I am, or, like when I look out into the world, what do I see people identifying with? People identify with their status as, their social class. A lot of people like to buy expensive things to prove that they are sort of in a category. I wear this, which places me in this bracket. They identify with these brands as a symbol of how they want to present themselves to the world. You can actually learn a lot about the internal world of a person by watching their sort of exterior presentation. But I feel like it's, how else do people identify? They identify with their genders. They identify with their ethnicities or with their races. And there's nothing wrong with these things. But the thing is when we overly identify with anything, it makes us easily exploitable and suggestible, and it puts us in this category, this box that it puts us in a box that it's a tough thing to explain. But I mean, if you look out into the world, you can see how the media and different people use these identities to create sort of social chaos and little hysterias. I think, I don't think identification. I mean, this is the nature of the human being, is to give ourselves stories. What do we have at the end of the day but stories? This is what's carried on. We live through the lens of mythology. We live through the lens of language. Who are you? You say, okay, I'm this person. I grew up here. These are the things I'm interested in. These are my hobbies. But it's like, yeah, well, you're just describing qualities about yourself. Who are you? Who are you really? Well, I'm a he, him. I support these causes. And you're just like, yeah, but who are you? Like that caterpillar that's just getting high on top of that Amanita muscaria mushroom in Alice in Wonderland. Who are you? This is one of the most important questions you can ask yourself, because it really starts to put you in like a position where you're like, well, you know, in meditation, they say it's all about getting to a single pointed attention. It's all about making your attention to a single point of awareness. So like asking this question is about tracing that point of awareness where the I is. This is like one of the most powerful meditation practices, is like tracing that, the root, get to the root of who you are. Because yes, you may be this gender, you may be this ethnicity, you may be this person with this career and this quality, but like, what is the essence of who you really, 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 really are? The deep down you that's in there hiding behind all these things. These are our external presentation. This is the qualities that we present to the world to say, this is who I am. This is how I want to, this is like, this is the blossoming of the garden, of the seeds that I planted. You can look at thoughts and different mythologies and cultural characteristics as being seeds. And these things blossom into our external presentation. You know, our external form is a garden of our influences in life, of our environment that we are raised in. So, you know, if you're raised in a society that is very open and free, you'll maybe see a very colorful garden when you look out into the world. If you're in a repressed society, it might be very gray and bland. But to go back to the point of these things can be used to manipulate us, I think you can see politicians doing it very good, and also like corporations. Every time it's Pride or Black History Month, you see all these corporations and politicians that support horrible things, that like benefit from child labor, or that just like lobby horrible things that just really turn out badly for ordinary people. And then all of a sudden they're like, you know, when it's trendy or when it's profitable to identify with certain characteristics, they do, you know? So that's like one of the ways that us overly identifying can make us exploitable, because then it makes us, you know, it's just us supporting these companies. You know, a lot of people see through that. That's just a very surface level example. But from a spiritual aspect, you know, it's almost revolutionary to release any identity that can be used against you. To come to the conclusion that you are a transcendent being, and you're not limited to the temporary nature of your body or the temporary nature of your personality, because we've seen ourselves grow throughout life. Our personalities change. You know, we have once overly identified with one thing at one point of our life, and now we look back at it and we're like, oh my God, I was so hypnotized or enchanted by my own bullshit that I can't even believe that I'm not even the same person anymore, you know? And we can see ourselves do this when we're in like a toxic relationship. We become easily manipulated because we are overly identifying with something. I actually look at relationships and breakups, both of these, as being spiritual practices. We don't really look at life as being a spiritual practice. We look at our spiritual practice as being our spiritual practice. I pray this many times a day. I meditate this much. You know, that's kind of our spiritual practice, but it's actually the mundane things in life that is the real spiritual practice. It's your interactions with the everyday normalcy of your experience. How do you handle these experiences? How are you processing them? Are you seeing them through the lens of meditation or whatever your spiritual practice is? Because this is the real test. I think like, why do I keep losing my goddamn train of thought? What were we talking about? We were talking about, okay, meditation. Oh yeah, to use spiritual practices in the normal moments. You know, how do you see the world? Because if we're lost, meditation, right? When they say, like, when we look at the great yogis and the great philosophers throughout time that talk about these transcendent states, they always talk about like the stillness where suffering evaporates, the identity evaporates, and we are lost in an enchanted world of oneness, an enchanted world of pure consciousness, what the Hindus call Sat Chit Anand, existence, consciousness, bliss, where all these three characteristics are merged into one quality. They have different, we can, it's like a sun. The sun has its heat, its light, its rays, all of these different qualities, but it's actually one thing. And the Hindus have recognized this. Maybe you could say like the Christians recognize this in the Trinity of the Holy Spirit, the Father and the Son. Or even in the symbol of Om. You have the waking state, this current awareness that we are all in. We're waking and walking through life. You have the dream state, where it's like this, but a bit more abstract. It feels just as real as this when you're there. And then you have the deep sleep state, where there's no visions that are being attached to. You're not identifying with anything. You're just a pure state of infinite consciousness, awareness. And then there is the transcendent state in which all of these things blossom out of, making them all actually one thing. And when we're in each of these states, we identify them as being real. But the real truth is the underlying reality in which manifest these things. And I guess that's kind of what I'm trying to say, is that like it's revolutionary to identify with being a spiritual being in a way, And I think I don't want to take any like cultural identities away from people, because again, this is we are human beings for a reason, and we are here for a reason. And our cultural identities are very powerful things. And I think it can be spiritual to actually trace those roots, but also to recognize that it's just a part of this temporary human experience. It's just the lens that our soul is choosing to filter this reality through. We all came here for a reason, most likely. Our spirits did. And I think that we planned all of this. This is all a contractional, spiritual journey or quest. This is all for our growth. And, easy for me to say, if I was in a horrible position where I was starving and getting eaten by bugs or something, I'm sure I, again, would not be saying this, but it feels like that, doesn't it? Doesn't it feel like at the end of all this, we'll understand something? Like at the end, we'll be like, oh, it was never actually even me. It was just things happening to me. And now you move on to the next thing. We're just on this conveyor belt, just being pulled through time. And our inner soul, our consciousness, is just watching all of it play out, uninfected by all of it. Our body gets affected, but we stay who we are always. Inside, your voice in your head is always you. Whether you chop your arms off, chop your legs off, we are not the body. The body belongs to the earth. Our body belongs to this earth, but there's a part of us that belongs to eternity. And that part of us that belongs to eternity is actually probably more true than the part of us that belongs to the dirt. We should identify with being dirt, because dirt, people look at dirt as being nothing. Oh, you're dirt. You're the dirt on the bottom of my shoe. But actually, dirt is full of life, and it is the thing that gives the forest the nutrients to blossom. And we are going to be dirt more than we will be our bodies. You will spend more time being dirt than you will be being whoever you are. And so just recognize that about yourself sometimes, because Because, hey, we're all going to go back. We're all going back. I've said this before, but it's always interested me when we have recognized that we come from the stars. We all come from the stars. Science recognizes this truth. The materials of the stars gave birth to us, to the materials of our bodies. Exploding stars were the nutrients that allowed Earth to spring. And planets also. It gave planets the conditions to build life. Science recognizes this as a truth with our current understanding. But it's interesting why you stop there. If we are the exploding stars of the cosmos, then we are equally the conditions in which that make the stars possible to exist. In the first place, we are equally the exploding star as we are the living star, as we are the conditions that made it possible for the star to exist. We can't be one and not the other because it's all connected. So if you keep tracing that back, where does it lead? I mean, you can go through in your head, whatever, supernovas, you can use any technical term you want to use, we are whatever. And we are all those things because all those things were necessary for this moment to happen. All of those things that happened in the cosmos. Your experience right now, and I think about this sometimes, I reflect on my life when I would my first kiss, for example. I had my first kiss behind my mom's garage in her backyard with this girl named Jessica. We were in we were so young, 10 years old, 6th grade or something. We were just kissing. We did a little peck. And we were so nervous. I remember it. We were so giddy and so nervous that we did it. And we basically just ran after we did it away from each other. And I think now with my current awareness of the world, not that it's anything special, but I think everything the whole universe has ever did, everywhere from each corner of the universe, all of it happened for that moment to happen. For all the moments in my life to happen. Everything from the furthest parts. All of those things are working towards this moment. That it's all connected. It's like what they talk about, the butterfly effect, where you kill a butterfly on one part of the world and it causes a tsunami on the other side. It's because there's a chain reaction. Everything is connected. Each decision you've made in your life led to where you're at now. And also, each decision your parents have made and their parents have made, it's all connected. And you can expand that to a cosmic level. It's all connected. Everything. You are as equally Jesus as you are Hitler. Those qualities exist inside of you. And you can see that now, can't you? Look how easily we all support the war that's going on now because we're emotionally tied to the story of the Ukrainians. We can identify with that. Russia's just invading the Ukraine, and we need to do something about it. Again, it goes back to identity. But you can't escape it either. I'm not trying to say escape your identity. I'm just saying examine it. People talk about killing your ego. You can't kill your ego because your ego is what this is. Without your ego, none of this even exists. Without your ego, you are a rock. And that might even be offensive to rocks. Rocks might be alive. Alan Watts once said, think of you're a cosmic being billions of years ago and you see Earth. You say, oh, look, this is just an empty rock. There's nothing going on there. A big hunk of rock. And you come back a couple billion years later and you go, oh my God, I was wrong. This rock is it's not a rock. This rock has people on it and trees, and it's alive. This rock is alive. I was wrong. And yeah, I don't know. All I know is that I don't know. All I know is that I don't know nothing. Yeah, just watch yourself. Watch yourself in life. Don't take it so serious. It's all temporary. And anything that's temporary is not the ultimate truth. How could it be? Ultimate truth, reality doesn't change because, I mean, if it changes, then it's not real. Reality must remain real. That's one lesson I've carried with me when I get too caught up in things that will change. You know, whatever it is in life, we go through our problems, and it's like seasons. What you're worried about now, you might not be worried about next season. And yeah, the seasons of our lives. Just let them come and let them go. Should I stay or should I go? Thank you. That was my TED Talk. Subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcast and Spotify, A Place for Humans podcast. And if you would like to support us, head over to patreon.com/Dakota Wint or follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Dakota Wint. And if you'd like to buy a t-shirt, stayhappystayweird.com with 10% off A Place for Humans. Yep. A mother flipper's gotta eat. Can criticize capitalism all day long, but when it comes to the grind, all hypocrisy goes out the window, baby. You know what I mean? Gotta pay that iPhone bill. No, I'm a hypocrite. I recognize it. If I really meant what I said, I'd be living out in the forest somewhere and get rid of all technology. But I'm addicted. I'm addicted to this world. They've got me. I'm handcuffed to this society. And it's a mind fuck because I can see it and I see it's bad. Not that it's bad. Nothing is inherently bad, but I can just see you know, we can all see it, so we all can see. Look around. This crazy world we're living in currently. And but you know, it is what it is. You can't stop it. It's a lot of people disagree when I say this, but it's evolution. This is evolution. Since the start of the wheel, it's been rolling itself all the way into computer chips and nuclear bombs and everything. We couldn't stop it. This is what's happening. Was always meant to happen, and it's going to happen. And it is happening. And that's what's called nature. And human beings are a part of nature, and anything that's naturally happening is nature. And we are naturally making technology. We are naturally doing all these things. So this is nature. This is what is happening. Our next step is to become technological beings, and we can fight it because that's some of our natures to do that. And but we'll see. We'll see how we adopt to these pressuring forces of nature. Nature seems to be forcing us to level up in a bunch of different ways. So we have a bunch of different confrontations coming, whether it be the technological confrontation, the resource confrontations de la tierra, of land, like we're seeing in Ukraine, confrontations of information, of data, confrontations of everything in reality becoming a commercial or product. Is that what our life is for? Is that what our life is being boiled down to? Even me, even you know, like everybody, our lives are being turned into products through like influencers and through all this stuff, and I play directly into it. So, but I guess that gives me some room to critique it, and it gives me some room to talk about it, because I've been to some of these things. I've been in the quote unquote entertainment industry for a few years, and I've gotten not like deep into it, like Jeffrey Epstein style, but I've been deep into it to where I've hung out with a lot of interesting people that work with Nickelodeon and work with Disney Channel. I've had some of these Disney Channel stars hit me up to buy mushrooms and all kinds of little funny things. One of my really good friends, he was Beyonce's sound guy for many years. Right now, he's living at Ram Dass's house. So, like, I've had some insight into this little world for a while, and yeah, I don't know. It's I forgot even where I was going with this. I feel like I'm having a Dory syndrome today, like Finding Nemo syndrome. I don't know. I forgot where I was going. The entertainment industry is fucked up, maybe? I don't know. But something that's funny is that people talk about like Jay-Z and Beyonce being in the Illuminati, and really it's just like these people have teams of people making their YouTube video, or not their YouTube videos, but their music videos and their stage presentations, and everyone's like, oh my God, they're hiding Bohemian Grove symbolism in their live performances. And you don't realize that it's a bunch of like psychedelic potheads that are making all these things, and they know that it freaks everyone out to put that kind of symbolism in there, so they do it just for laughs. So that's funny. But yeah, I don't know. It's also funny that like you think these guys in the entertainment industry, they are really into like the mystery world. It's so funny, like when they hit you up for mushrooms or just to talk about it, or they're curious. I find that that's growing. The world of mystery is growing. People are becoming disenfranchised with this world that we're living in, whatever this is, this shit world of consumerism and products. I guess that's what I was talking about. Maybe that made me talk about Hollywood and the entertainment industry. Not so much Hollywood, but yeah, I don't know. That's the world that we've created for ourselves, I guess. It's because they've learned, these people that are in control of like the technology and stuff like that, they've learned to hijack the part of us that is obsessive, and the part of us that wants attention, and the part of us that that's just easily grabbable, like our attention, like it's just like that. The distractive part, like TikToks and 7-second vines and shortness and, like these quick digestible things. Pop, pop, pop. It's fucking weird. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm ranting about. I feel old. I feel like a 50-year-old. 50 is not even old, but I just feel like I don't know. Where does it all end? Like, this is just the start. We are the people that are ushering all this in, like our parents and stuff like that. I mean, our parents got to see some interesting thing. If you got some older parents, that was born in the 60s or even earlier, they got to see some really interesting stuff. The generation before my generation is just like, got to usher in technology. But really, it's the younger kids now that are really ushering it in, because, well, like my generation's the one that ushered in the technology. Because we were the ones that grew up with not really having anything to sort of bringing in cell phones. We were really the first ones to start using computers and video games and all that kind of stuff. I mean, they had like Pong or whatever the fuck back in like the old days. But, if you're in your mid to late 20s or early 30s, we were the ones that brought in technology. But these kids now are the ones that are completely living in it. Man, what's that world going to be like when they're running shit, in a couple, a decade from now, or 2 decades from now, when the TikTok kids are presidents. It'd be interesting. I think we'll probably have AI by then, like AI politicians. Doesn't that make sense? that we stop leaving everything up to like lunatics. Putin can he's like old, you know? He can just be like, fuck it. Fuck all you guys. I'm blowing everything up as I die. Like, are we really going to leave the fate of our lives and our humanity, of our children, of our future ancestors in the hands of these dickheads? These ugly little... What the fuck is the Kremlin? The Kremlin. That's a real thing. The Kremlin. Let me Google that real quick. The Kremlin. I was cracking up yesterday hearing about the Kremlin. The Kremlin. The fucking the Kremlin. The Kremlin, or simply the... Okay, I thought the Kremlin was what Putin called himself. Like, the Kremlin. Okay, so the Kremlin is like the White House, I guess. I thought that was like their name for president, the Kremlin. I was like, what kind of villain shit is that? That's too close to Gremlin. That's too goddamn close to Gremlin. Gremlin, Putin. Putin. And Putin sounds like you're Putin, like you got little farts. Oh, who's that over there? Putin. You can't be called Putin in the Kremlin. Yep, you can't do that. I mean, you can because you are doing it, but it leaves a lot of air around to Putin. To Putin. Oh shit. Thank you. Yeah, but I think AI will be a savior. I know it's kind of scary, and it's got a lot of potential to be scary, but also it has a lot of potential to save us from human error like that. AI will be able to mathematically, it'll be able to give us probabilities that say, okay, if you make this decision, like for example, say we are Russia. We have an AI system that says, okay, if you attack Ukraine, these are the probabilities based on math of what could happen. These are the outcomes probabilities if you do this. Here's the probabilities if you go this way. Here's the probabilities if you go this way. I think AI could easily, if not, it's probably already doing that. But I think that could be a really beautiful thing. And a truly democratic system based around AI where we can vote for things that we want. I mean, like American Idol. A million people can call into American Idol and vote, yet we are like still like signing ballots by pigeon mail. Yeah. I don't know, dude. I think everybody's like jealous and shit, dude, because I'm like the lead singer of the band. These chicks don't even know the name of my band, but they're all on me like they wanna hold hands. 'Cause once I blow, they know that I'll be the man. Shout out to Eminem. That's pretty cool. The Super Bowl. That's a big landmark for hip hop, right? To think the government was trying to suppress all that stuff, a couple of decades ago, and now they're playing the Super Bowl on the big stage, baby. Hip hop and black culture have changed the world. I mean, if you really think about it, the world revolves around black culture. Maybe not so much in Asia and stuff like that, but like the Western world revolves around black culture. Rock and roll, black culture. Blues, black culture. Country music, black culture. So much of the dancing that we do, black culture. Most sports, black culture. Comedy, most of the best comedy. It's so funny how people can be racist. It's like, dude, everything we love comes from the people you hate. Like, you're in a weird position if everything you love is being made by people that you think are inferior to you. Like, we live in such a Twilight Zone episode. I'm starting to believe the Hindus when they say that we're living in like the age of opposites, the Kali Yuga. That we're just like stuck in the age of weird, strange tyranny. Because it's just like, how did everything get so backwards? Yep. I mean, all of America was built by black people, if you think about it. Who do you think was building all those amazing houses you see down in the South? All those houses people now go to visit as being like historical structures. Who do you think built that stuff? Who do you think built the foundation? Who do you think built the White House? I don't know for sure, but I can make a guess. Who made this country the profitable nation it is? It was a collaborative effort, I guess you could say. But there was definitely, there was definitely one group of people that was used to physically do it. But I do find it interesting now that the narrative is changing and like a white hate is like on the rise. You see people being able to make fun of white people so much easier now, and it's like almost socially acceptable. And white people even take it to be like, "Oh yes, I understand. I'm just trying to just tell me how I can be better," which is hilarious. Thankfully, I'm like racially ambiguous. I'm racially ambiguous enough so people kind of just leave me alone. But yeah, I find it funny. And I find it funny, like, people use that as an outlet to express hate. And it's probably a psyop anyway, fuck. But it's like, you can't expect a country built on, like, the worst aspects not to be echoed into the... I mean, you think, like, my mom was born in 1964. I mean, that's basically the civil rights era. That's, my mom was alive for that. My grandma, who just died a couple years ago, went to a segregated school. So, I mean, this stuff is it's not as long ago as we think it was. But I do find it funny that for some reason, because these bad things happened, that people think it's okay to like just shit on white people. And it does have like comedic value for sure, but like as a whole, it's unproductive, And it's mostly probably just on Twitter, but it's very hilarious. And even if you just like tell a white person like, okay, you're white, they get so angry. I find that so funny too. But we really, again, this goes back to the identities. We need to transcend our identities because it keeps us in this low vibrational state where we like are just like so easily bickerable. Is that a word? So like easily swayed to be into an argument on something that could be transcended towards something more unified and beautiful. But it's funny. Life is funny. Okay, so what do I got? I got some news that I want to talk about just before we get off this it's a weird conversation to end the podcast on. No, we are not our races. We are not the color of our skin. We are not any of these temporary things. That's how I would like to end this podcast. Even though it's funny sometimes, it's not the truth of who we are. It's fun to get lost in these narratives of our lives, and it's fun to get lost in the drama of life. That's what we're doing. We're lost in a drama. We take on these identities and we play the role. We play it out. And, move to a different place and realize how fun it is. Like a lot of my friends that have moved places, they're just like, wow, man, it's so nice to just kind of get like a start over. I kind of get to be who I am. Because like when you grow up in an area, you change so much that the people that they don't notice that you're changing because they know you your whole life. So they know you as being the person you were, and I've known you forever, But we know in ourselves that we have grown as people. So when you go to a new place, you really get to express that. But that's a psychological thing, because realistically, you can start over anywhere. You can start over right now in this moment. So I guess we'll end it like that. But so I wanted to say that I have some retreats coming up in Mexico, October 10th to 16th, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 7 days. October 20th to 26th, which will be right around Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead, is a great time to be in Mexico. You guys will love it. I'm doing retreats. We're going around Chiapas in the jungle. It's the last time I'll probably do this retreat. So if you're interested in going to see Mayan ruins and interested in doing this whole, amazing indigenous villages and stuff like that, we support these communities to the fullest extent, and they love having us. We keep going to the same people, so we've really grown close with some of these communities, like the Lacanha people, the Mayans in the Lacandon jungle. We've been working with those guys now for a few months, and we love them. And it's great to. I really love taking people there to learn about the modern Mayan culture and the modern traditions that are happening around in Mexico, because a lot of people think like the Mayans are gone. They look at that culture as being like something that was once. But there's definitely people that still speak Mayan. There's definitely living Mayan traditions, and it's so beautiful to spend time in that. So if you'd like to join that, you can send an email at dakotawint.com. You can go to dakotawint.com for more information. And there's also another retreat in India, I think at the end of February. I haven't booked the dates yet, but I'm thinking it'll be 10 days, maybe February 20th to 30th, something like that. So if you're interested in joining the India retreat and have some flexibility with the dates, it's more or less going to be around that time. dakotawint.com for more information. Stay happy, stay weird for merch, and be nice out there, Don't tell white people that they're white, because it's offensive. And look at me, look at this beautiful man behind me right here. Anyways, boys, it's me, your boy Dakota of Earth. I got some videos coming up, some travel videos. Make sure you peep them. I got a bunch of Egypt videos that just dropped, so please go watch my Egyptian videos. They're really cool. Inside pyramids, this and that, walking around the streets of Cairo, hanging out in the ghetto, chatting with the people. You guys will really dig it. There's a lot of great stuff in there to watch. And hey, life is strange. Your life is strange. Your life is a mystery. Everything is bizarre. None of us have any idea why we're here. It's all a joke. It's all funny. Don't take it serious. My name's Dakota. You can follow me over on Instagram, Dakota Wint. And that's it, A Place for Humans podcast. I really love everyone. See you in India in a month. Om. Shanti, shanti, shanti. Peace out. If you like this podcast, make sure to head over to Apple Podcasts, leave us a nice review. And if you listen over on Spotify, make sure to subscribe there so you don't miss any new episodes. Thanks again for watching, guys. Peace.